All right, we are going to be looking at how to graph this curve in the polar coordinates. The best way to start this is actually to create a table of theta values and then figure out your r from there. So at 0, 4 times the sine of 0, so I'm going to start at 0, 0. Let's think about pi over 6. So 4 times the sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. So at pi over 6, I need to be at 2. Okay, and so as I connect these 2 points, you'll see it kind of goes out like this. All right, let's look at pi over 4. So 4 times root 2 over 2 is 2 root 2, and that's about like 2.8. Pi over 3 is going to be 4 times root 3 over 2, so 2 root 3, and that's at about 3.4. Pi over 2 is going to be 4 times 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. And so you'll kind of see that we get this shape like that. Now, sine continues to be positive, right, in the second quadrant. So if I were to look at like 2 pi over 3, but sine is kind of symmetric, right? In a way from 0 to 2 pi, or excuse me, 0 to pi over 2, and then pi over 2 back down to the 0. Like if you think about that little piece of the graph right here, right? Like I'm symmetric around this. And so what ends up happening is I'm going to get like 3.4 and then 2.8 and then 2 and then 0. So I'm going to end up getting this here. Now we start back at the origin, but that doesn't always necessarily mean that I've completed my full circle, okay, my full graph. But if we start doing like 7 pi over 6, so if we look at like theta 7 pi over 6, we get a -2. So even though I'm here at 7 pi over 6 at 2, remember negatives map me over here. So anything that ends up happening here just remaps, because sine is always negative, and so it just remaps it back around. So this is my graph right here. All right, if I wanted to rewrite this in rectangular coordinates, remember our trick is we're going to multiply through by r. And so I get x squared plus y squared. R times sine is a y, so 4y, bring that over, x squared plus y squared minus 4y plus something here. So 2, 4, 4, and so I get x squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 2. So I'm at 0, 2 as my center with a radius of 2, and that makes sense, right? That maps there. All right, let's do another one here in this video. So we are going to look at the graph of 4 plus 4 cosine theta. All right, so again, we're going to start with theta and r. So if I plug in 0, the cosine of 0 is 1. So I'm going to end up having 4 plus 4, which is 8. So at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say they are worth 2 then. Okay, so it only goes out to 5. So each one of those is worth 2. All right, let's look at pi over 6. So it's going to be 4 plus 4 root 3 over 2. That ends up being about 7.46. Oops, right there. All right, pi over 4 ends up being 4 plus 4 root 2 over 2, which is about 6.8. Okay, and then we keep going with this. Pi over 3 ends up giving me 4 plus 4 times a half, so 2. So that goes way down. I lied. It's 4 plus 2, which is 6. Okay, that's a little bit better. I was like, that doesn't follow the pattern at all. Okay, so then what is pi over 2? Well, cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So at pi over 2, I need to be at 4. And then let's do 2 pi over 3. So 2 pi over 3 is 4 plus 4 times negative 1/2, right? So I'm at 2. And then at 3 pi over 4, I'm at 4, and then 4 times negative root 2. Let's see, what is that? It's like 1.17. Okay, and then I get to 5 pi over 6. Which ends up being 4 plus 4 times negative root 3 over 2. That's about half, so it's getting really, really close in here. And then when I get to pi, I get 4 minus 4, which is 0. So if I track this along, it ends up making kind of almost like this little bubble right here. And then cosine is symmetric on the other side, right? So because all this, so cosine's positive here and then negative here, which is why that 4 and then minus it is it's getting all the way in the inside. Again, cosine's going to be negative here and positive, so we're going to end up having symmetry like this. Okay, and we call this a cardioid because it kind of looks like a heart. We don't transfer this back into the rectangular coordinates. Okay, we're just going to leave this as it is. It doesn't make a circle, so we're not really going to worry about doing that, trying to complete the square and making this look pretty. It just doesn't work out nice in those types of coordinates. Now you could go back through this whole other round, but what ends up happening is you just kind of retrace it back up. Okay, so it ends up going from like 0 all the way out here to 4 and then all the way out to 8. And then it goes round and around like that.